Hey guys, Jonathan Doyle with you once again. Welcome as always to the Daily Message. Great to have you here in the little studio. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you've enjoyed some of the recent episodes. Today we're going to keep pressing on with our journey with the great Stoic philosopher and one-time Roman Emperor, Marcus Aurelius. Not only was he a Roman Emperor, he also was a Hollywood actor, appearing, of course, with Russell Crowe in Gladiator. Gosh, the guy was long-lived. Now, please make sure you've subscribed. Hit the subscribe button here wherever you're seeing it. That would be really awesome if you could do that. You want to book me to speak. You want to get free access to my book, Bridging the Gap. And of course, what else? You can get the podcast version under here, which is also where I usually go a bit deeper each day. So if you like to listen in the podcast format, you'll find a link under here to the podcast version. But hey, listen, really good to have you here. Today, Marcus Aurelius is pressing on with his list of things that he has learned from the important people in his life. Imagine if we did that. I mean, imagine if you sat down with a journal, uninterrupted, no distractions, and just put down in a simple form the most important things you'd learned from key people in your life. You know, what I love about the Stoic philosophy and the great Stoic philosophers was the brevity of what they did. There was a real emphasis on simplicity, on stripping away what wasn't necessary, excess embellishment, if you will, and just capturing the absolute essence of an issue. So today I want to share with you a really simple insight from Marcus Aurelius, where he's talking about, again, what he learned. We mentioned this guy yesterday, what he's learned from Maximus, his friend. He says Maximus taught him to do your work without whining. And when I read that, it immediately triggered off an awareness of me of the impact of complaining. And really, that's the essence of today's message. I want to talk to you about complaining. I want to talk to you about why you need to root it out of your life, why I need to root it out of my life. I did a 25-kilometer run this morning, and for the first time in ages, I completely imploded. I don't know what it is, whether I'm tired or whether I haven't been eating a lot. It was a disaster. I was just so destroyed, and it was a mess. It was windy. It was cold. I normally run at 4 a.m. every morning, and today I was running at about 9 o'clock in the morning, and it just threw me. Just kind of really just a disaster. So I get back, and Karen's like, "How's your run?" And I'm like, I'm trying not to complain and go on about it. So I kind of just gave her the high notes and left it at that. So let's talk about complaining. Immediately, some of you will be thinking to yourself, well, are you saying we should repress what we feel? Are you saying, Jonathan, that when we're dealing with adversity and people are treating us unjustly, that it is not okay to talk about these things? No, that's not what I'm saying. What happens with complaining is at the end of it, do you want to know what happens? Nothing. Literally. The test for complaining, in opposition or contrast to strategy or taking some form of action, like a long discussion with a trusted person, a counselor, or journaling problems, what happens with complaining is at the end of it, nothing has changed. And you are usually worse off because you're in an even worse negative state because you've rehearsed to yourself all of the terrible things that are happening. So complaining by its nature does not move us forward. It just frames the situation in a repetitively negative light and nothing shifts. And the other point I made in the podcast version, of course, is that when we complain, we pretty quickly find that we are surrounded by what? Other complainers. Misery loves company. That we frequently, if we gossip, if we're negative, if we're constantly hacking the organization we work for, or ripping into the boss or our manager or our spouse or our husband or our kids, a few things are happening. We're surrounding ourselves usually with like-minded people. We also surrender our power. So there's two quotes that I share on the podcast version. One was from William Arthur Ward. I'll see if I can remember it by memory. He said, "The pessimist blames the wind. The optimist expects it to change. And the realist adjusts the sails." I like that. The pessimist blames the wind. The optimist expects it to change. And the realist adjusts the sails. I like that. A pessimist does nothing than describe the problem. The pessimist or the complainer does nothing other than describe the problem. And particularly with complaining, we rarely describe it accurately. You'll often find in complaining use global statements. Global statements include things such as always and never. It's always like this. It's never going to change. They always do this. They never respect me. So as soon as you find yourself in global statements, you can usually tell that you're complaining and it's not moving you forward. The optimist kind of just goes, well, I'm going to just put up with this and it'll change. That's definitely better than the pessimist complaining strategy. Because, that optimist strategy there is kind of a little bit like the original Stoic philosophy, right? Just endure what cannot be immediately changed. Whereas the realist actually goes ahead and tries to change it. So what we've got here is the realist decides that they have agency, that they have action, that there is some wind, and B, they can do something about it. Whereas complainers go, there is terrible, the wind is awful, we can't do anything, it's never going to change, and they're just stuck. So do you see this dynamic? When you're in complaining, you're just stuck, you're not advancing. The other quote came from Eckhart Tolle that I share in the podcast, where he says, that complaining makes you a victim. I talk about this so often in different podcasts. Complaining and victimhood surrenders your power. And Eckhart Tolle said in the quote in the podcast, he said that you either leave a situation, you change a situation, or you accept it. And then he says, all else is madness. Leave it, change it, accept it. All else is madness. I like it. So let's talk about your life. So if you're facing a difficult circumstance at the moment, what do? You either leave it, you change it, or you accept it. So you will need to have the wisdom to know which one to do in any given circumstance. But when it comes to changing a situation, yes, there might be a need for an assertive conversation. There might be a need to set boundaries with people. There might be a need to challenge inappropriate behaviors. I get that. But one of the most important things to think about if you want to change a situation is that so much of the time, real transformational change comes by changing yourself. And again, the last few weeks, I've been talking a lot about Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, where he says, when a situation cannot be changed, where life cannot be changed, we are challenged to change ourselves. That's Viktor Frankl. That when we do not have the immediate power to change the physical or the structural circumstance around us, then we change it by changing ourselves. So today, on my awful run, I was listening to this audiobook from Kai Bretz that I've been listening to called Turning Right. And he's an amazing guy, like ultra runner, and he's talking about, he's got a background in transformational change for corporates, organizations. And he makes the point, he goes, famously, that organizations don't change, people change, right? Like, can you imagine, say, a big global corporation like Apple or IBM or somewhere, if you take all the people out of that and it's an empty building, the organization doesn't change. Like, what happens? Nothing, right? Just the building eventually falls over. It's the people that have to change. And real transformational change, if you're thinking about this in your work context, it's usually almost always a leadership issue. So you want to change a culture, you change the leaders. And I don't mean get rid of the leaders, I mean you help the leaders to change who they are and how they operate. Now, for all of us, whatever situation we're in, I think something similar holds here, that instead of complaining about your situation, then think about how you can change it, and how you can change it by changing yourself. How? By how you think, by how you interpret a situation, by how you show up in it, the mindsets that you bring, the energy levels you bring. I've been, teaching a lot lately on this idea of not letting external realities dictate your response. I'm coaching at the moment, and I've been trying to teach that to the team, right? Like, so it's a default at the moment in this culture. It's like a blame culture. It's a victim culture. So the minute there's a problem, we look for the external reality that's causing it. And I go, well, maybe you're right, but that external reality does not give you permission to become a cynical, aggressive, despondent person. We still get to show up with energy and commitment, enthusiasm and passion, regardless of the external reality. So look, that's it for today. I just want to challenge you on it. I want to encourage you on it, around the role of complaining in daily life and how toxic it is, how it doesn't move things forward, how nothing changes, and how you're made for more than that. Like, you've been created for much more than sitting around pointing your finger at the various levels of wrong in the world. Am I saying we be immune to the problems in the world, that we turn a blind eye to them? No. But the way you change problems is by changing yourself and taking action. And whether that action means leaving, changing, or accepting, whatever. But the first step is to stop just complaining and describing situations so negatively, because it doesn't really help. So my run today was character building. You believe me? Character building. I can't wait for another 25-kilometer character building run in a gale force wind when I'm undernourished. It's going to be great. So this stuff's difficult, right? Like it's why growth is hard, and why living a passionate, full life of contribution is harder than people would like to believe. Okay, please subscribe. It'd make a big difference. I'd love you to hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about any of this. Say, no, Jonathan, you're crazy. Jonathan, I agree. Jonathan, do an episode on X. So jump on it right now. Hit it in the comments. Let me know what you think. And go check out the show notes here, the description. Book me to speak. Get free access to my book, Bridging the Gap. It's all there. All right, God bless you, everybody. My name's Jonathan Doyle. This has been The Daily Message, and you and I are going to talk again tomorrow.